Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Bhava Bhakti's feeling shy today. Okay, nice to be with you all again. We're trying to pick up the pace, keep the Bhagavatam readings rolling, and we hope all of you are too. Nice to be with you again. So we're going to continue today, but where are we?
Canto 4, Chapter 2, Text 19.
Oh, somehow. Oh, there it is, yes. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You up at the end of that?
Quite in sync today. 19.
In the sync, maybe.
Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, in spite of the requests of all the members of the sacrificial assembly, Daksha in great anger cursed Lord Shiva and then left the assembly and went back to his home. Purport. Anger is so detrimental that even a great personality like Daksha, out of anger, left the arena where Brahma was presiding, and all the great sages and pious and saintly persons were assembled. All of them requested him not to leave, but infuriated he left, thinking that the auspicious place was not fit for him. Puffed up by his exalted position, he thought that no one was greater than he in argument. It appears that all the members of the assembly, including Lord Brahma, requested him not to be angry and leave their company. But in spite of all these requests, he left. That is the effect of cruel anger. In Bhagavad Gita, therefore, it is advised that one who desires to make tangible advancement in spiritual consciousness must avoid 3 things: lust, anger, and the mode of passion. Actually, we can see that lust, anger, and passion make a man crazy, even though he be as great as Daksha. The very name Daksha suggests that he was expert in all material activities, but still, because of his aversion towards such a saintly personality as Shiva, he was attacked by these 3 enemies: anger, lust, and passion. Lord Chaitanya therefore advised that one be very careful not to offend Vaishnavas. He compared offences toward a Vaishnav to a mad elephant. As a mad elephant can do anything horrible, so when a person offends a Vaishnav, he can perform any abominable action. So we see here that anger, because what happens is the false ego gets triggered and all common sense goes out the window. So it's like a pot of milk that's boiling, and it's okay as long as you put it on the lowest level and it's just simmering. You know, in other words, anger is okay as long as we have it under control. And then when we let it, turn up the heat, as it were, or when someone turns up the heat and that milk rises and such anger rises, it doesn't take long for that milk to spill over and spoil the stove and everything, the floor and everything. And it's so horrible to clean it up. So in the same way, it doesn't take long for anger to actually rise and spill over, and which means externally come out words, actions, and it's actually a horrible mess which has to be sorted out, and sometimes cannot be sorted out, and sometimes just like the stove that cannot be cleaned totally because some bits got burnt and they remain like that. In the same way, scars do remain in relationships and they cannot be fully mended just due to this anger. Just talking in general.
Yeah, okay. Sounds like a lesson for me, huh?
No.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's, what a great verse and purport. I mean, this is a very powerful lesson, and, you know, probably we can all glean something from this verse and purport. In general, all of us are prone in one way or another to some levels of anger. Some more than others. Yeah, avoiding this lust, anger, and the mode of passion. Interesting that it says lust, anger, and the mode of passion. Usually we hear lust, anger, and greed. And I remember looking at this before and thinking, why is Prabhupada saying the mode of passion here specifically? But Daksha was a progenitor, the direct son of Lord Brahma. His name is Daksha because he's expert. And still, he's prone to these things. So, at least we can take solace in the fact that we succumb to anger, but even great personalities succumb to anger. It doesn't justify it, but it helps us to know that it happens to the best of us, you know, to the best of them, to the best of us. And but we need to try to get it under control as quickly as possible, as Bhava Bhakti was saying. Otherwise, the milk boils over, the pot's ruined, the stove is ruined, the kitchen is ruined, our lives are ruined, and then we have to walk back through all of that stuff to try to mend it or fix it or
clean it up.
And yeah, it can be a real horrible mess. So, and of course, the mention of the mad elephant is also there. That analogy given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya, that he likens our devotional life to a creeper, to a plant growing in a garden. And in that garden, this little plant is growing, and in the beginning, it's very delicate. And, you know, it's called the Bhakti Lata. The Bhakti Lata bij is the seed of that, but the Bhakti Lata is the actual plant. Lata meaning creeper. And if you open the gates and let some mad elephant come in, it's just going to trample and destroy the whole thing. So we have to be very careful about letting the mad elephant in. And if you don't understand what a mad elephant is, because I didn't understand, I thought, well, what is all that? I can get it, I can visualize it. But then I searched on YouTube, mad elephant. And when you do that, you get about 3 or 4 very intense videos that show elephants when they lose it, like domesticated elephants, when they lose it, whew, man, that is it. They just leave everything in shambles afterwards. So like that. Anything else?
Very done.
Yes. Try not to get angry. So text 20. Upon understanding that Lord Shiva had been cursed, Nandishvara, one of Lord Shiva's principal associates, became greatly angry. So there you go, it's contagious. His eyes became red, and he prepared to curse Daksha and all the brahmanas present there who had tolerated Daksha's cursing Shiva in harsh words. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, I think it is. Purport. There is a long-standing dissension among some of the neophyte Vaishnavas and Shaivites. They are always at loggerheads. When Daksha cursed Lord Shiva in harsh words, some of the brahmanas present might have enjoyed it because some brahmanas do not very much admire Lord Shiva. This is due to their ignorance of Lord Shiva's position. Nandishvara was affected by the cursing, but he did not follow the example of Lord Shiva, who was also present there. Although Lord Shiva could also have cursed Daksha in a similar way, he was silent and tolerant. But Nandishvara, his follower, was not tolerant. Of course, as a follower, it was right for him not to tolerate an insult to his master, but he should not have cursed the brahmanas who were present. Interesting point. The entire issue was so complicated that those who were not strong enough forgot their positions, and thus cursing and counter-cursing went on in that great assembly. In other words, the material field is so unsteady that even personalities like Nandishvara, Daksha, and many of the brahmanas present were infected by the atmosphere of anger. So yeah, once it kicks off, it doesn't bring out the best in people. Usually it brings out the worst. But my encouragement would be, don't let a challenging situation bring the worst out in you. Let it bring out the best.
Okay. Is that it? Text 21?
What was that about?
Alright, text 21. Anyone who has accepted Daksha as the most important personality and neglected Lord Shiva because of envy is less intelligent. And because of visualizing in duality, they will be bereft of transcendental knowledge. Pop, pop. The first curse by Nandishvara was that anyone supporting Daksha was foolishly identifying himself with the body. And therefore, because Daksha had no transcendental knowledge, supporting him would deprive one of transcendental knowledge. Daksha, Nandishvara said, identified himself with the body like other materialistic persons and was trying to derive all kinds of facilities in relationship with the body. He had excessive attachment for the body and relation to the body with his wife, children, home, and other such things which are different from the soul. Therefore, Nandishvara's curse was that anyone who supported Daksha would be bereft of transcendental knowledge of the soul, and thus also be deprived of knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Interesting that Nandishvara therefore has the Shakti, as it were, to deprive someone of transcendental knowledge, or to have that taken away as such. I guess being the servant of Lord Shiva, who is considered the greatest Vaishnava, is going to have some level of Shakti. But it's interesting that that's his first curse as well. The first curse is to remove their real knowledge, which is knowledge that I am not this body, I'm a servant, part and parcel of Lord Krishna. He didn't curse them to drop down dead, or to grow an extra foot, or to have their hair fall out. He actually went right for the jugular, if you think about it in the bigger scheme of things, which is to deprive someone of that knowledge. And that's pretty serious. If someone gets annoyed and we say things backwards and forwards and this, okay, but then where someone actually that's a big thing. So that's interesting. He went straight for that. What's going on? Because you're making fuzzy noise now when you touch that. Just sorry.
My apologies.
Sorry, everybody. Alright, we want to continue. Okay.
Well, that was 21, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can do 22.
Okay.
Yes, 22. One more. Okay. Here we go. 222. 4222. Translation: pretentiously religious householder life in which one is attracted to material happiness and thus also attracted to the superficial explanation of the Vedas, robs one of all intelligence and attaches one to fruitive activities as all in all. Purport. Persons who identify with bodily existence are attached to the fruitive activities described in the Vedic literature. For example, in the Vedas it is said that one who observes the Chaturmasya vow will attain eternal happiness in the heavenly kingdom. In Bhagavad Gita it is said that the flowery language of the Vedas mostly attracts people who identify with the body. To them such happiness as that of the heavenly kingdom is everything. They do not know that beyond that is the spiritual kingdom or kingdom of God, and they have no knowledge that one can go there. Thus they are bereft of transcendental knowledge. Such persons are very careful in observing the rules and regulations of household life in order to be promoted in the next life to the moon or other heavenly planets. It is stated here that such persons are attached to gramya sukha, which means material happiness. Gramya sukha. Without knowledge of eternal, blissful, spiritual life. So this is all these verses and purports here are very, very powerful, very instructive. So it's an interesting point made about Chaturmasya, which seems kind of derogatory in terms of following it, because it says, one who observes Chaturmasya vow will attain eternal happiness in the heavenly kingdom. So, but then Prabhupada is referencing that the Bhagavad Gita says these flowery words just attract materialistic people, because our goal isn't to enjoy, eternal happiness in the heavenly kingdom. Because there is no eternal happiness in the heavenly kingdom, because the heavenly kingdom is also temporary. So like that, it sort of is kind of inspiring people to come with a material mentality. But at the same time, sorry, someone's outside. At the same time, now I've become distracted. At the same time, Krishna says, akama sarvakamo va mokshakama udara dehi, that regardless of whether one is akama, no material desires, sarvakama, full of material desires, or mokshakama, desires liberation, Krishna says you should approach me. So, like that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we'll finish here. Thank you, everyone. I guess we'll finish here. And we'll see you next time on the Srimad Bhagavatam Bites. Remember, please, to
comment,
like,
share,
subscribe.
Have a lovely weekend.
Haribol, Gauranga.